I shot my sister's prized show dog right between the eyes on the 8th day. Not because it was suffering hell. The old mutt was tougher than half the strays I patched up at the clinic, but because watching it gasp its last breaths in that godforsaken crate felt like the final betrayal in a lifetime of them. My parents didn't even call to check in. They were sipping piña coladas in Maui, posting filtered sunsets on Instagram while I shoveled the mess alone in the backyard. The summer heat turning the air thick with flies and regret. And as the echo of the gunshot faded into the cicada hum of our crumbling Ohio suburb, I realized the real kill I'd been aiming for wasn't the dog. It was the family that had chained me to this hell. And I was done playing the loyal fucking sentry. My name's Naomi Keller. And if you grew up in a place like Warren, Ohio, where the steel mills rust like forgotten promises and the high school football field is the closest thing to a cathedral, you learn early that family isn't blood, it's a debt you pay in silence. I was 34, board certified in small animal surgery, pulling 12-hour shifts at the Warren Animal Clinic where we treated more flea-bitten ferals than purebreds. My hands smelled like betadine and kibble. My apartment was a one-bedroom walk-up above a laundromat that reeked of dryer sheets and despair. But damn if I didn't love the work. Fixing what was broken? That was my gospel. Until my own kin shattered me beyond repair. It started with a phone call from Mom on a muggy Tuesday in June. I was elbow-deep in a golden retriever's spay when my cell buzzed against my thigh. Naomi. Honey. Her voice dripped that Midwestern honey vinegar mix. Sweet enough to choke on. We need a huge favor. Lila's dog. Max, you know. Her big showpiece. He's not doing well. The vet in Cleveland says it's cancer. Maybe lymphoma. And she's beside herself. We're heading out for Dad's big 50th anniversary trip to Hawaii. 7 weeks.
Can you
watch him? Just keep him comfortable till we get back? I froze, the scalpel hovering over the incision. Lila, my baby sister, the golden child who'd skipped college for modeling gigs in New York and now ran a boutique, pet influencer brand that made her 6 figures off sponsored posts of designer collars. Max was her meal ticket, a sleek German shepherd with papers longer than my med school transcript. Blue ribbon winner at Westminster twice over. And me, the reliable one. The vet who fixed other people's messes for pennies while she jetted to LA for photo ops. 7 weeks. I echoed, wiping sweat from my brow with my forearm. The air hummed with the beep of monitors. Mom, I'm not a hospice. I work 60 hours a week. And if it's terminal...
Oh, Naomi.
Don't be dramatic. You're a professional. Just meds and walks. Lila's shipping him down tomorrow. We'll Venmo you for supplies.
Click.
No, please. No, thank you. Just the expectation that I drop everything, because that's what Kellas do. We carry the load so the stars can shine. By Friday, Max arrived in a crate that cost more than my monthly rent, his ribs poking like piano keys under that glossy coat. Lila's note was pinned to the towel inside. Sis, you're a lifesaver. He's family, keep him sassy for me.
Love ya.
2 hearts, I snorted, hauling the beast into my Subaru. He was heavy, wheezing already, eyes glassy with pain. At the clinic, I ran the full workup. X-rays showed tumors the size of golf balls in his lungs. Palliative care only. 6 months. Tops. If he was lucky. That night, I set him up in my living room. 4 drip-rigged to a repurposed coat rack. Morphine dosed just enough to dull the edge. My folks texted a group photo from the airport. Mom in a floral muumuu. Dad with his arm around Lila. All grins and lei necklaces. Wheels up. THX Naomi XO. No mention of the dog dying in my lap. Week 1 blurred into a grind. I'd wake at dawn, force-feed Max his slurry of painkillers and broth, then drag him around the block on a leash that chafed my palms. Neighbors waved from their porches, Mrs. Hargrove with her perpetual cigarette, the Millers blasting Fox News through open windows, asking after that fancy pooch. I smiled through gritted teeth, the Ohio humidity turning my scrubs into a second skin. At night, I'd crash on the couch, Max's labored breaths the soundtrack to my insomnia. Why me? Why always me? By day 10, the resentment festered. I'd scroll Lila's feed, her in a bikini on Waikiki Beach, Max's face photoshopped into old posts like a ghost haunting her grid. Missing my boy, who's got the best pup sitter, Max the magnate. Comments flooded in, heart emojis, sponsorship deals. Meanwhile, I was ghosted, a single check-in from Mom about the weather back home that somehow looped back to Dad's golf score. It was on day 12, during a midnight shift at the ER, that the first crack appeared. A tabby cat came in, hit by a semi on I-80, its mules turning my stomach. As I sutured the little guy's flank, my phone lit up, an email from the Ohio Veterinary Board. Notice of investigation. Complaint filed Keller Animal Clinic. 2018 incident. My heart slammed. 2018. The year everything went to hell. Flashback hit like a freight train. 7 years back. Fresh out of vet school at Ohio State, I'd taken over Dad's old practice when he retired to tinker with his ham radio in the basement. But Dad hadn't retired. He'd been skimming opioids from the pharmacy stock, selling them under the table to feed a habit that started with prescription Vicodin after a mill accident in '05. Lila knew. Hell, she'd been the one driving him to the shady meets in Youngstown, playing lookout for extra cash to fund her dreams. When the feds raided, it was my signature on the logs, falsified by Dad during one of his benders. I took the hit, license suspended 6 months. Probation, a black mark that kept me slinging rabies shots in this backwater forever. I'd covered for them. Told the investigators it was a clerical error, that I'd been too green to notice. Family first, Mom had whispered in the station, her hand on my knee. Lila hugged me after, tears streaming. You're the strong one.
No.
I owe you forever.
Lies.
All of it. They partied through my hearings while I buried the shame.
Now.
This email, anonymous complaint, dredging it up. Who? My mind raced to Lila, jealous of my stability, maybe, or Dad. Paranoid about his secrets resurfacing, I slammed the laptop shut. Max's whine pulling me back. His eyes met mine, dull and pleading. Fuck this, I muttered, grabbing the pistol from my nightstand, Dad's old service revolver from his National Guard days. 1 bullet.
Clean.
Merciful?
No.
Not yet. But the seed was planted. Revenge isn't a light switch, it's a slow bleed. Week 3. The heat wave hit like God's own broiler. Max stopped eating, his coat matting with sweat. I'd sponge him down, whispering apologies he couldn't understand, while voicemails piled up unanswered. My boss at the clinic,
Dr.
Patel, pulled me aside. Naomi, you're burning out. Take a day. I laughed it off, but inside, the rage coiled tighter. Why was I the villain in my own story, the one who fixed, who forgave, who faded into the wallpaper? One evening, post-walk, I collapsed on the stoop with a lukewarm PBR from the corner store. Across the street, the old Keller house loomed, sold last year to some flippers from Cleveland, now a sterile McMansion with smart lights and no soul. That's where it happened. The night of the raid. Dad high as a kite, Lila counting stacks on the kitchen table, Mom burning evidence in the sink. I'd walked in from a double shift, found them scrambling. Help us.
No, Lila begged.
Her mascara running.
So I did.
Signed the logs. Lied to the cops. Carried the scar. A car pulled up then, headlights cutting the dusk. It was Jake, my ex from high school, divorced, deputy sheriff now, with a gut from too many donuts and not enough chases. We'd hooked up sporadically since his wife left. A comfort fuck in a town starved for options. Heard about the dog, he said, sliding onto the step, his uniform crisp against the humid air. You okay? I shrugged, cracking another beer. Peachy. Family's living the dream while I play Grim Reaper. He nodded, that cop's empathy masking the opportunist underneath. Lila's posting up a storm. Saw her with some producer type. Big money. His hand grazed my thigh.
Testing.
I let it. For a moment, distraction's a hell of a drug. But as we tumbled inside, Max's crate rattling in the corner, guilt twisted like a knife. Jake grunted through it, oblivious, but I saw ghosts, Dad's shaky hands forging my name, Lila's smirk as she jetted off. After, he lit a smoke on my fire escape. You know, that old case. Bored sniffing around again.
Someone chipping.
My blood iced. Who? Anonymous. But whispers say it's tied to the house flip. New owners found shit in the walls, files. Labels. Your name on 'em. The Keller name. Buried but not dead. I stared at the ember of a cigarette, imagining it on Lila's perfect skin. Thanks for the heads up, Jake. He left with a kiss that tasted like pity. Alone, I knelt by Max, his breath a rattle now. They used me.
Boy.
All of 'em. He licked my hand, weak but trusting. That broke something. I grabbed the gun, pressed it to his temple. The shot cracked like thunder, echoing off the laundromat bricks. Blood bloomed dark on the linoleum, minimal, contained, the realistic spatter of finality. I wrapped him in a tarp, drove to the family plot out back of the old house. Dug under starlight, sweat stinging my eyes. Buried him with Lila's note, a middle finger to the grave. Then I called the airport. Change of plans, I told the agent. Voice steady as steel. One way to Honolulu. Touching down in Honolulu felt like stepping into a postcard from hell, palm trees swaying like accusatory fingers. The air thick with plumeria and the faint rot of paradise gone sour. I rented a Jeep, the kind with doors that flapped like loose ends, and drove straight to the Kahala Hotel, where Mom's credit card trail led like breadcrumbs for the damned. 7 weeks in, they were tanned, loose, the American dream distilled into my ties and luau skirts. But I wasn't here for vacation. I was the storm cloud rolling in. I'd wired Jake a heads up. Feed the board what they need. My signature's clean now. Anonymity's a two-way street. Let the investigation bloom, without my face on it. By the time it hit the fan, I'd be the ghost they couldn't pin. The lobby was all marble and whispers, ukulele strumming in the background like a bad rom-com score. I spotted them at the pool bar. Dad, nursing a scotch. Mom in a caftan scrolling Zillow for retirement condos. Lila air-kissing some venture capitalist named Trent. Her laugh, a tinkling bell of bullshit.
Much Eptions.
Not a whisper. I approached slow, letting the flip-flops slap like judgment. Naomi. Mom's martini glass froze mid-sip, her Botox smile cracking at the edges. What on earth? Surprise, I said, sliding onto a stool, ordering a whiskey neat. The bartender, a local with tattoos snaking up his arms, poured without a blink. Dad's eyes narrowed. That old mill worker squint. Lila broke away from Trent, her sundress a slash of tropical print, fake concern blooming. Cease. You drove all night? Is everything okay with Max? We were just... He's gone. I cut in, voice flat as the Ohio plains. The word hung, heavy as humidity. Mom gasped, hand to her pearls, knockoffs from a Cleveland mall.
Dad choked on his drink.
Lila's face crumpled artfully, tears welling like she'd practiced in the mirror. Oh God.
No.
What happened? We should've. Should've what? Checked in? Or just assumed I'd handle the corpse like I handled your messes? The whiskey burned going down, fueling the fire. Heads turned, tourists in floral shirts, a honeymoon couple with matching lei, but I didn't care. This was America, public breakdowns as entertainment. Dad leaned in, voice low. Not here.
Kiddo.
Let's talk upstairs. We piled into their suite, ocean view mocking us through floor-to-ceiling glass. The AC hummed, chilling the sweat on my neck. Lila paced, phone in hand, already drafting a eulogy post. He was in pain, right? You did the right thing. Vet mercy. I laughed, bitter. Mercy. Yeah. Like the mercy you showed when you let Dad forge my logs? Or when you ratted to the board to bury me deeper? Silence dropped like a guillotine. Mom's face paled under the spray tan. What are you? Don't, I snapped, pulling the printed emails from my bag, the board's notice. Jake's tip about the wall vials. New owners found her little pharmacy. My name's on it. Again. And guess who filed the complaint?
Not me.
Lila. You did. To discredit me before I could spill how you two covered Dad's habit. How you drove the deals. Pocketed the cash for your brand. Lila stopped cold, her flip-flop snapping against the tile. That's insane. I would never. Save it. I hacked your cloud backups. Texts from 2018. Tell Dad to initial as now, she won't notice. You played me like a fiddle.
Cease.
And now, you're flipping the script again. Crying wolf to the board so you look clean when the feds circle back. Dad sank into an armchair, rubbing his temples. It was a rough patch.
Naomi.
The accident. Rough patch. I exploded, slamming the papers on the coffee table. Glassware rattled. You dosed me with your debts.
Dad.
I lost promotions. Respect, hell. My goddamn future, because you couldn't kick the pills. And Mom? You burned the evidence while I lied for you in court. Clerical error. My error. Mom whimpered, reaching for me. We protected you. Protected? You used me. The room spun, rage and jet lag blurring edges. Trent knocked then, oblivious. Babe? Luau starts soon. Lila waved him off. But the seed was there, her perfect life teetering. That night, I crashed in their extra room, the king bed swallowing me whole. Dreams twisted, Max's eyes in the crosshairs. Dad's shaky signature morphing into my own. Lila's laugh echoing like gunfire. I woke at dawn. The sun bleeding red over Diamond Head. And plotted. Revenge isn't blunt force. It's surgical. Like excising a tumor you love. First cut. The money. Lila's brand was built on Max sponsorships. Merch. That influencer glow. I emailed her partners from a burner. Sad news. Max euthanized due to neglect during family trip. Ethical concerns re. Lila Keller's care. Attached, timestamps of her posts. My care logs, doctored to show ignored vet advice. Whispers spread fast in pet Twitter. By noon, Cancel Lila trended in niche circles. She burst in at breakfast. Phone shaking. What the fuck?
Naomi?
My deals, they're pulling out. Good, I said, buttering a mango slice. Feel the burn. Dad tried diplomacy over Eggs Benedict. This family's all we got.
Kid.
Let it go. I met his gaze. The man who taught me to field dress a deer but couldn't face his demons. You let it go first. Confess to the board. Clear my name. He balked. But Mom, ever the mediator, nodded.
We'll
talk to a lawyer. Lila spun on her.
Mom.
She's ruining everything. The flip. Lila's mask cracked. You think you're the victim? I covered for you too, that affair with Dr. Patel? I deleted the texts when Jake came sniffing. My fork clattered. Patel?
My boss.
The married one with wandering hands during shifts. We'd flirted. Sure, stolen kisses in the supply closet, but an affair?
Lies.
She was gaslighting. Flipping the blade back. Bullshit, I hissed. You're the liar here. The argument escalated. Voices bouncing off the Wahini prints on the walls. Trent bailed mid-luau that night. Texting Lila. Too much drama.
Peace.
She sobbed into a lava. But I saw the calculation already demanding backups. Week 4 blurred into sabotage. I shadowed them. Spiked Dad's scotch with just enough Benadryl to fog his golf game. Whispered to the concierge about family disputes so their comped dinner soured. Mom cornered me poolside one afternoon, her voice a hush under the waterfall feature. Naomi.
Please.
Your father's sick again. The stress. Sick, I scoffed. Sunscreen stinging my eyes. Like when he dosed half of Warren. Spare me. But doubt crept. Was I the monster now? Polarizing them. Yes, Dad retreated to AA meetings in the hotel basement. Mom popped Xanax like candy. Lila plotted her comeback via TikTok lives from the spa. Yet each night, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, I'd justify they started it. Betrayal's a chain. I was just yanking back. The twist brewed in a dive bar off Kalakaua Avenue, where expats nursed IPAs and griped about holiday tourists. Jake called collect. The cheap bastard. Boards moving.
No.
Full audit. Your folks' names are surfacing. Good. But my gut twisted. Audit meant jail time for Dad. Maybe Lila as accessory. Was that mercy? Or just trading my chains for theirs? Lila found me there, slipping onto the stool like a shadow. Truce. She slid a rum punch my way. Her eyes red-rimmed but sharp. I was scared back then. Dad pressured me. But you're right, we owe you. The flip again.
Vulnerability as weapon.
We talked. Really talked. First time since kids building forts in the backyard maples. She admitted the texts. The fear of losing her shot. You're the rock.
No.
Always were. I bought it. For a shot. Hugged her under the neon buzz of a Bud Light sign. But as we stumbled back to the hotel, arm in arm, her phone pinged. A draft email to the board. CCNG API. Confirm Keller forgery. Naomi complicit. The betrayal. Fresh as salt in a wound. I snatched it. The screen glowing accusatory. You bitch. She wrenched back. Nails digging. Survival. Cease. You want Dad clean? Take the fall again. The bar noise faded. Just us. Sisters in a cage of our making. I lunged. Not to hit, God. No, but to grab her wrists, pinning her against the Jeep. No more. Her laugh was brittle. Then what? Kill me like the dog. Tempting. But I released. Drove off into the night. Tires screaming on the H1. The climax loomed. Not blood, but exposure. Total. Back at the hotel, by midnight, the suite was a war zone, Mom pacing in a silk robe. Dad, slumped with a Bible from the Gideons. Lila barricaded in the bathroom with running water to muffle her sobs. I burst in, laptop open, fingers flying. No more half measures. I uploaded everything. Scan logs, texts, the 2018 deposition where I'd perjured for them. A blog post, raw and unfiltered. My family's pill empire, how I took the fall for love. Tagged the board, the local news, Lila's sponsors. Hashtag Keller cover-up. By morning, it was viral. TMZ picked it up. Influencer sis in opioid scandal? And Warren's Reddit lit up like a mill fire. Jake texted, holy shit.
No.
Feds inbound. Mom wailed over CNN in the living room. Dad silent as stone. Lila emerged, face puffy, hurling her phone at the wall. It shattered like our illusions. You destroyed us. Us. I echoed, packing my duffel with deliberate calm. There was no us, Lila. Just you, flipping sides whenever the wind changed. Dad's habit, your greed, Mom's denial, I carried it all. And for what? A Venmo for dog food. She advanced, eyes wild. You think you're innocent? That fling with Patel? I covered because I loved you. Idiot. And the dog. I knew he'd die. I sent him to buy time. To test if you'd finally snap.
Test.
The word landed like a gut punch. Max wasn't just collateral, he was bait. To break me, force my hand, give her leverage. Unstable sister euthanizes family pet. The ultimate flip. Her cunning distilled. I saw it then, the maw of our dynamic. A snake eating its tail. Dad stirred. Voice gravel. Enough. I confess. All of it. He grabbed the hotel phone, dialing the board direct. Mom collapsed beside him.
Keening.
Lila lunged for me again, but I sidestepped, her momentum carrying her into the balcony rail. The ocean churned below, waves like accusations. Stop, I yelled, hauling her back. For a heartbeat, we teetered, her weight against mine, the rail groaning. Wind whipped our hair, salt spray stinging. This ends now. She clung, sobbing real tears this time. I'm sorry.
No.
I flipped because you're everything I'm not.
Strong.
Real. The moment stretched. Polarizing. Push her. End the cycle? Or pull back? Forgive the unforgivable? Readers would debate it, the ethics of revenge, the blur of right and wrong in blood ties. I pulled. Always the fixer. But the twist? As sirens wailed distant, feds landing in Cleveland, Jake said, Lila whispered, "There's more." The real secret. Her hand slipped into her pocket, pulling a flash drive. Dad wasn't skimming alone. You knew?
No.
That night in 18, you initialed one batch yourself. For his pain. I have proof. Lies? Or buried truth. My mind reeled. Hazy memory of a late shift. Dad begging. My pen scratching in exhaustion. Had I? The doubt poisoned. A final flip not hers, but mine, against myself. Cops arrived at dusk. Not for us, but to extradite Dad stateside. Mom went with, tear-streaked but resolute. Lila jetted to a crisis PR firm in LA. Her brand smoldering but not dead. America loves a redemption arc. Me? I flew coach back to Warren. The flash drive burning in my pocket. Unplugged it in my apartment. The laundromat hummed below like judgment. The audit cleared me, mostly. Probation lifted. A quiet vindication. Clinic gave me a raise. Patel, a wary nod. But the ending?
Nota y dibao.
I drive by the old house sometimes. The for sale sign down. New family barbecuing in the yard. Happy? In fragments. Tragic? In the what-ifs. Last week, Lila called from rehab, irony's sharpest cut. Forgive me, her voice small, human. I paused. The Ohio winter cracking ice in the gutters. Maybe. But no more tests. Hanging up. I walked Max's old route, leash empty in my hand. Revenge tasted like ash. But freedom? That's the real hook. Bittersweet. Debatable. As American as a second chance you might not deserve.